To say that Dragon Ball is a generational story is an understatement, as it does not fully capture the impact this series has left on the world. Even if you have not read or watched the manga or anime, I'm sure most of you watching this have seen a meme with Dragon Ball characters, know what a Kamehameha is, have attempted to transform into a Super Saiyan before, and of course you know who Goku is. For me, Dragon Ball Z was a series I discovered when I was 14 and it completely changed my life in multiple ways. Not only did it give me a new hobby and fandom, but it also pushed me to better myself, stand up to bullies, and seek to do what's right. The importance of Dragon Ball in my life was made abundantly clear on March 7th, 2024, and it was announced publicly that series creator Akira Toriyama had passed away. This inspired me to make this series, sharing why I love the Dragon Ball franchise and how it has managed to touch the lives of so many around the world. This series will analyze the characters, settings, story elements, and structure of Dragon Ball, along with various other points of discussion that may vary throughout the series. While many fans might imagine that a series like this would start with the arrival of Raditz on Earth, we are actually going to go all the way back to where the series started, the Emperor Pilaf Saga, with not only our first introduction to the world of Dragon Ball, but also our main character, Son Goku. Since this is the first episode of this series, I want to mention that most videos will not be structured like this moving forward, but the first part of a series has to do a lot of heavy lifting. Not only does the narrative need to show off a fully realized setting and world, but it also needs to establish the lore of that world that explains what things are and how things work, and also gives us characters that will cause us as an audience to become invested in the history, motivations, and growth of the characters throughout the story moving forward. So, with particular emphasis being placed on setting, lore, and character, let's jump into the saga that started it all, the Emperor Pilaf Saga, which covers chapters 1 through 23 of the manga and episodes 1 to 13 of the anime. Oh, and make sure to like the video and subscribe. This is a new kind of content for my channel, so showing your support will not only help me and the channel grow, but it will also help more Dragon Ball fans find the series. Okay, with the housekeeping out of the way, let's get started and talk about the setting, aka the world of Dragon Ball. Author Gordon Waterman Chaplin once said, "Setting never gets in the way. It is the way of the story." Chaplin's quote seeks to emphasize the importance of establishing the setting of a story, as it not only drives the story forward, but it is also one of the most crucial aspects of making a story successful. A good setting will allow readers to see themselves in the story, allowing them to close their eyes and visualize the things that the characters themselves are seeing, and is part of what makes reading so much fun. I think for a story like Dragon Ball, the setting is important for two main reasons. Those reasons being the need to cultivate a sense of adventure and the imagery shown on the page and on a screen. Dragon Ball at its core is an adventure story, and one of the most important aspects of adventure stories is creating environments that feel unique and cause both the characters and the audience themselves to feel like they are on a journey. A few examples of stories that do this to perfection include The Odyssey, Gulliver's Travels, Around the World in 80 Days, and Journey to the West, the story that inspired Dragon Ball, but more on that later in the video. I can still vividly remember imagining the island of the Cyclops that was discovered by Odysseus, the Lilliputians who captured Gulliver, and the many discoveries of Phileas Fogg as he travels around the world. A good adventure book not only allows us to imagine and see the adventure itself, but also excites us to go on adventures of our own. Additional importance is placed on this in Dragon Ball because unlike the stories I mentioned previously, we actually see the setting of the world, and it has to feel lived in. It has to feel vast, and it has to feel eye-catching. This is because the story is presented on the panels of a manga and in various anime episodes. So not only do we need eye-popping locations with physical spectacle, but they also have to be visually appealing to draw the audience in. Vast areas of nothingness, such as wasteland or just sowing some shrubbery, are not going to be enough to captivate an audience to continue reading. Despite the additional importance of setting being placed on the Dragon Ball world, Toriyama succeeds in creating a world that not only feels alive, but also one that is filled with discovery and adventure. Toriyama places the audience in a world filled with dense forests, vast oceans, quaint villages, monstrous mountains, and desolate deserts. Not only are these areas visually appealing, but they also play a key role in the story and often present new obstacles for our characters to overcome. A few notable instances of this include traversing the river to reach Fry Pan Mountain, Goku needing to visit the Turtle Hermit to put out the fire on Fry Pan Mountain for the Ox King, and the group's trek through the desert, where they encounter Yamcha and Puar for the first time. Another factor that sets each of these areas apart and does a ton in the way of world building are the people and creatures that inhabit each of these areas. Not only do humans inhabit this world, but there are also talking animals like Oolong and Puar who can shapeshift, a rabbit that can somehow turn people into carrots, bear bandits, and dinosaurs who roam freely. This diverse world opens up nearly endless amounts of creative freedom for Toriyama to work with, allowing him to not only build captivating settings, but also grow the sense of adventure with each new area, making each of the inhabitants unique in their own special way. And speaking of this is probably a good time to talk about the lore of this world. But before we go there, if you've watched this far in the video, thank you! And if you are enjoying, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. So in a world where there are shape-shifting animals, a young boy who has a tail, and technology so advanced that entire houses can be stored in capsules, where do we even attempt to begin explaining the lore of this story? Well, that's a great question, and I believe the best place to start would probably be the namesake of the entire series, the Dragon Balls. In short, there are 7 magic balls, and if you manage to gather all 7 of them and use the correct phrase, the Dragon God will appear and grant a single wish. Once the wish has been granted, the balls will turn into normal rocks, and they are blasted across the globe and will remain dormant for 1 year. Pretty simple premise, right? Well, yes it is, and this being the bedrock of the story is great, and allows more mystical elements to be included, such as a world of martial arts that is hinted at but never fully explored in this opening saga. If you ask many casual Dragon Ball fans what the story of Dragon Ball is truly about, I'm sure that a vast majority of respondents would answer that the story is about epic fights, martial arts, and a whole bunch of high-octane action. And to some extent, they would be correct. But interestingly, outside of a few fights with a bear thief and Yamcha, there is very little fighting in this opening saga, but martial arts is at the heart of the story. You see, Goku's deceased grandpa, Gohan, was a pupil of the legendary turtle hermit, Roshi, and was trained alongside the Ox King. Now, this connection leads to Roshi using a powerful move known as the Kamehameha to extinguish the flames on Fry Pan Mountain, and also saves Bulma and Oolong from being killed when the group first encounters the Ox King. As you probably know, martial arts will be a key part of the next saga, but keeping the focus on the adventure to recover the Dragon Balls was a smart move, allowing for effective world building and fantastic foreshadowing. So we have the 7 Dragon Balls and martial arts and other various pieces of lore previously mentioned, such as the shape-shifting and capsules, but none of this would mean anything without great characters to fill this world. And that's why it's time to talk about the characters that inhabit the world of Dragon Ball. But before we talk about them in the context of the Dragon Ball story, I want to pay homage to the characters from the story that inspired the characters in Dragon Ball, Journey to the West. The inspiration Akira Toriyama took from Journey to the West is not hidden. In fact, it is even pointed out by the narrator himself at the very end of Chapter 1. The most clear inspiration is seen in the main character, Son Goku, who is based on the main character of Journey to the West, Sun Wukong, the Monkey King. Sun Wukong is a legendary character from Chinese mythology. He is a monkey born of stone who gained incredible powers that he uses on a quest to find ancient Buddhist writings. As the adventure progresses, Sun Wukong not only gains key allies, but also gains new abilities along the way. While this is a very brief overview of Sun Wukong, you can likely already see the comparisons between him and Goku. If you aren't convinced, however, let's look at the key tools that both Sun Wukong and Goku use. Sun Wukong uses the Roi Jingu Bang to help him on his quest, which is a magic pole that can change size based on the will of Sun Wukong. It can also become lighter or heavier based on its master's will. Goku carries Niobo, otherwise known as the Power Pole, with him on his journey. The Power Pole was given to Goku by his grandpa Gohan and can change size based on Goku's will, and is also handy in hand-to-hand combat to counteract sword-based attacks. Goku also obtains the Kinto Un, otherwise known as the Flying Nimbus from the Turtle Hermit, a cloud which allows users who are pure of heart to ride it, and will transport them to any location that their heart desires. And oh, would you look at that? Sun Wukong has a cloud of the same name that operates exactly like the Flying Nimbus. So yeah, the similarities between Goku and Sun Wukong are quite apparent, but most of the allies Goku encounters on his first journey were also based on characters from Journey to the West. While I won't be diving into a ton of detail on all of them, I do want to quickly run through each of these characters. Bulma is based on Buddhist monk Tang Xuanzang, who is the individual who found Sun Wukong and is often considered to not only be the leader of the group, but also the brains behind the entire operation in Journey to the West. Bulma, of course, sets the entire story in motion and holds the key to finding the 7 Dragon Balls thanks to her dragon radar. Oolong is based on the part pig, part human hybrid known as Zihu Biaji. In the story, Zihu Biaji is often known for his vices, such as cowardice, lust, and desire. Oolong is the cowardly member of the crew, who is known as a womanizer that lacks a strong moral compass. Yamcha is based on the barbaric Sha Wujing, a demon who once fought Sun Wukong. He would become a reformed, kind-hearted ally of the team later on. Yamcha serves almost the same exact role, going from former enemy to Bulma's love interest. Ox King is based on the Bull Demon King, who is considered to be the main antagonist of Journey to the West, and who the group encounters at the Flaming Mountain. Ox King is not an antagonist per se, but the legends told about him are strikingly similar to that of the Bull Demon King. Chi-Chi is based on Princess Iron Fang, the estranged wife of the Bull Demon King and the holder of the legendary Banana Leaf Fan, which Sun Wukong uses to extinguish the fire on the Flaming Mountain. Chi-Chi is the daughter of the Ox, but she aids Goku in his quest to put out the fire on Fry Pan Mountain. Master Roshi is based on Subhuti, Sun Wukong's master who taught him the art of immortality and magic. Master Roshi will eventually go on to become Goku's master, but Roshi's personality is drastically different from Subhuti's personality. Now that we have that out of the way, let's talk about Goku, the main focus of this series and the protagonist of this adventure. The thing that stands out about Goku from the jump is that he is kind of stupid. This is actually not a bad thing, as Goku's stupidity allows us to discover vital information along with Goku, and also understand various aspects of the story better than we would if we saw the story from the perspective of Roshi or Bulma, for example. Ichiro Oda, the creator and writer of One Piece, once said that he tries to keep the protagonist of One Piece, Luffy, simple enough that he would never have to explain what he's thinking, as all his decisions would be easy enough for any reader to understand without the need for additional explanation. I think this portrayal works incredibly well in One Piece, and it also works well here, as Goku's good nature is the thing that drives most of his decision making. Goku is a kid who lives alone in a small house, hunts and fishes for himself, is unable to easily tell if a person is a boy or a girl, but is also somebody who holds a pure heart. This characterization clashes with most of Goku's friends like Bulma, who has all of the latest and greatest technology and often manipulates Goku to achieve her goals. However, it can't be overstated that even with Bulma manipulating Goku, the entire opening saga would not occur in the absence of Goku's good nature. Goku rescues a sea turtle who introduces him to Master Roshi. Goku is gifted the Flying Nimbus, which he uses to defeat Oolong, who joins their journey and helps protect the duo during their encounter with Yamcha and Puar. When the group encounters the Ox King recognizes the Nimbus Cloud and does not kill Goku and his friends. Goku uses the cloud to get Master Roshi to put out the fire on Fry Pan Mountain, and ultimately leads the group to obtaining the 7 Dragon Balls. Yes, it was a quick recap of the story, and I really hope your head is not spinning. I also want to quickly emphasize that Goku stands out when compared to every ally he meets along the way. Bulma is an incredibly knowledgeable girl who holds the latest and greatest technology in her hand that Goku is incapable of comprehending. Oolong is a coward who only cares about saving his own skin, while Goku fights for fun and in order to help Bulma on her quest. Yamcha is a brutal killer who is scared of women, while Goku only fights when he absolutely needs to. These differences in character allow Goku to stand out among the other well-written characters in the story. He is easy to understand, has easily understood motivations, yet despite his lack of intelligence, he is a really quick learner. Goku's natural ability to learn things on the fly is shown in arguably the most iconic moment in early Dragon Ball, when Goku replicates the Kamehameha, the legendary energy beam of the Turtle Hermit. This is not only an impressive feat since we were told it takes 50 years to learn the move, but also hints that Goku holds some natural fighting ability, likely thanks to his grandpa Gohan, that will be paid off as the series progresses. Now that we have covered the setting, lore, and character, let's talk about the ending of this introductory saga, including the namesake of the saga himself, Pilaf. So I know that some of you are most likely wondering why exactly Bulma is seeking to gather the 7 Dragon Balls. Well, she wants to wish for a boyfriend. Yeah, but hey, she isn't the only one with dreams, as Yamcha wants to steal the Dragon Balls in order to wish for the ability to overcome his fear of talking to girls. Well, despite the lackluster wishes of the group, things take a dramatic turn when the group is captured by the evil Pilaf and his cronies Mai and Shu, who will attempt to use the Dragon Balls to make Pilaf king of the world. Now, the obvious question is, how did Pilaf gain so much power? What do Mai and Shu get out of working for Pilaf? Does Pilaf currently own any territory, or is he just a wealthy son of some ruler somewhere? Why does Pilaf look like a green Looney Tune character? Well, we don't really find out any of this, but we do see Pilaf break the fourth wall, which is admittedly fun. Now, the plot and lore thickens as we see the group placed in a room with a glass cover that is exposed to the outside world. While this room is made to roast the group alive the next day, the group currently sits and looks at the full moon, which prompts Goku to share that his grandpa told him never to look at the full moon. Goku was told that a scary monster comes out during the full moon, and the last time he looked at the moon, he blacked out and could not remember what happened, but he would discover his grandpa was killed by the monster. Goku is not capable of understanding the thing that sends fear down Bulma and Yamcha's spine, that the kind-hearted and sweet Goku was the very monster that killed his grandpa. Something that is made obvious when Goku looks to the moon and transforms into a giant ape. Now, the giant ape aside, you might be wondering what happened with Pilaf and the Dragon Balls. Well, before Pilaf could make a wish, Oolong transformed into a bat and wished for panties. And yes, his wish came true. Now, yes, this is weird and all, but this actually pays off something from much earlier in the story. Bulma told Oolong that if he was helpful, she would give him a pair of panties, and well, he was helpful and his wish came true. Anyways, back to the giant monkey. Toriyama does a great job showing off how much different Goku is in his monster form compared to his normal human form. Goku has no self-control, is completely reckless, destructive, and unbelievably powerful. Despite this, Goku still manages to save the day, defeating Pilaf and his goons, bringing the ceiling on the cell which allows Bulma and the others to escape, and is ultimately freed when Yamcha instructs Puar to transform into a pair of scissors and cuts off Goku's tail, causing him to revert back into his human form. With everything I just explained, you might be inclined to believe that our heroes would consider this entire ordeal to be a massive defeat and overall failure. But this is the exact opposite. While the Dragon Balls will not be active for a year, Goku manages to save the day. Bulma and Yamcha decide to date each other, Oolong got his prize, and the group decides to go to the city. Goku declines this offer, however, and decides that he's going to set his sights on returning to the Turtle Hermit to train while he awaits his grandfather's 4-star ball to become active again. And as we see Goku fly off on the Nimbus, we as an audience know that the story is about to take a drastic turn. As without the Dragon Balls being active, there will be a lot less adventure and a lot more action coming our way. And that does it for the Pilaf Saga. I want to quickly say how much fun it was getting to experience the world of Dragon Ball again after being a fan for so long. Writing this script and deciding to make this series is something that I have wanted to do for a long time, and is one of the most important things I have planned to do before ending my time on YouTube. So for everyone who is still here, thank you so much for watching and sticking around until the end. Make sure to comment who your favorite Dragon Ball character is, and make sure to subscribe for more content coming soon. If you have Discord, make sure to join the JT Videos Discord server to take part in fun community events, and also meet fellow fans of anime, Marvel, superheroes, movies, and a wide variety of other fandoms. Also, please consider dropping a like. It not only helps me know that you enjoyed the video, but also helps the video in the algorithm. This has been JT Videos, and I will see you all in the next episode.